Now that you've finished knitting your beanie, I will show you how to sew it up. You'll have your knitted piece with your cast on edge and your cast off edge. It doesn't really matter which way you have your piece with garter stitch, both sides are the same, but bring those pieces in together like so. Cut a length of your yarn. We've just used a contrasting colour today so that you'll be able to see my stitches. Thread your needle, so again fold your yarn over your wool darning needle, push it through the eye and pull it up like so. Doesn't need to be too long for sewing up. So with your cast off and cast on edges together, we're going to work from the right side. This edge will be the crown of your hat, the top of your hat. So we're going to start at this end. So what we're going to do is work a mattress stitch. Just locate, have a look at the top edge. You just want to start the seam one stitch in, and you can see the little stitch by the little V. Loop under that on one side, and again do the same on the other side. Just find that V stitch. What we do is work around the stitches, so we've got quite a flexible seam to start with. So each time you come back into where your yarn came out of and go across another stitch. So it's under two loops of the stitch. Back in on this side where your yarn came out of from before. Go across another stitch. At this stage you don't need to pull it up too tightly. We will go up another centimetre or so, back to where your yarn came out of. Back on this side. Back to the same position on this side. So once you've done a couple of centimetres, what you can do is just pull from both ends and the stitches of your seam will just disappear into the fabric of the knitting. So just pull it out a little bit to keep going with that seam. Again, take it back into where the yarn came out of, go across a stitch. Back here where the yarn came out, go under, up another stitch, the same on this side. Back on this side. So what we do is keeping on taking it backwards and forwards, across to each side. And just every few centimetres, just give it a little tug and that'll pull the seam up. So this is what it'll look like on the wrong side. You'll have this nice seam. And any ends that you have left over from your knitting, you'll be able to sew those in along the seam, darn them in. So what we want to do now is seam from this side. We want to leave about 8 centimetres at this end. So we probably just want to measure down about 8 centimetres finish our seam as we've been doing until we've got to that point, and then we'll reverse our seam for when we turn our beanie back. So continue seaming your beanie until you've got about 8 centimetres left here. Just pull up those last stitches firmly. Then turn the piece to the inside. So you've got the remaining seam that needs to be stitched down here. Thread a new length of yarn, and we're going to seam this end of the beanie from the right side so that when it's turned back, the seam will be on the inside of the brim. So just start again from this bottom edge, one stitch in from the side edge. You might need to stretch it out a little bit to find that spot. Go up over under a stitch that way, leave a bit of an end to sew in to finish off. Do the same on this side. Come back across to this side where your yarn came out of. Go up again across another stitch, back in as you did before. Working your mattress stitch all the way up until you've fully closed that seam. So keep sewing until you've finished to here. Now that you've finished your seam of your brim, this is what it will look like on the inside. What we will do now is gather up the crown of the beanie. So this is the crown. What we need to do is cut a length of yarn 120 centimetres long, thread that onto our needle, and what we'll do is run that under the garter ridges along the top edge of the hat. So you can see the garter ridges are running this way. So all you need to do is start at the one closest to the seam and just run your thread under those ridges. You need to be careful that you don't pierce the yarn. You want to go around the yarn, that's why we use a blunt needle. So we continue threading our double yarn right round the top of the beanie, ready to draw it up like that. So now that I've run my thread all around the top edge of the hat, I've cut off my needle. So with my two ends, hold them firmly together and slowly gather up the crown of your beanie. Keep pulling gently so that you don't break your threads until the hole at the top has fully closed. Tie your first knot to secure, and again pull up very firmly, checking that that hole is fairly well closed, and then tie another knot. So you'll have a double knot there to secure that closed. Just check that the hole has closed firmly turn your beanie to the right side and check your crown. And that's not bad. Your pom-pom will sit on that little opening there. You can also now turn up your brim and secure in place where the seam changed over if you like, and sew in all your ends to finish.